Welcome to the Copper King Mine and Railroad. Today we're going to talk about the Boston Consolidated Company. They were the first to use steam shovels and trains at Bingham Canyon Mine. So, stay tuned. Boston Consolidated. The first steam shovel to start open cut mining at Bingham was from the Boston Consolidated Copper and Gold Mining Company. Now here's some pictures of that first diggings at the mine. Samuel Newhouse, with money from the sale of the Highland Boy Mine. Now this is the Highland Boy Mine up in Carfort Canyon, up around Highland Boy. You can see some early pictures of the Highland Boy Mine and then just the Highland Boy Mine over some time. This is a postcard of the Highland Boy Mine. And this picture was taken in 1912, and you see him going inside one of the portals of that Highland Boy Mine. And this is the Highland Boy area right here. It's a panoramic view of it in 1909. To the left there, can you see that little girl right here? I'll bring a close up on it. It's walking up this little dirt road. Anyway, Samuel Newhouse will purchase 70 claims and form the Boston Consolidated Company in May of 1898. On June 24th, 1906, a 90-ton Marion steam shovel will be the first in operation. Now, Utah Copper is usually given credit for being the first, but they won't start until August of that same year of 1906. So here's a picture of Utah Copper's first diggings, but like I said, Boston Consolidated Company will be the first. Now, there will be two companies digging away at the same mountain. This will continue until 1910 when they will merge, and the name will become Utah Copper. So here's some pictures of both Utah Copper and Boston Consolidated on top. They're digging away at the same mountain right here. So just some different views of both companies working away on that mountain. Now we have many pictures of the first operations up there and the equipment they had up on Boston Consolidated. Now, just going to show you some of these pictures right now, and just take a look at the equipment they was using, the trains and the train engines and the wooden ore cars and the big old shovels. The shovels were first on rails, you can see that, and then the drills, the little kind of drills they had up there. So let's take a moment and look at some of this early equipment. Also notice how high they're up on this mountain, how steep this is up here. And then look at all the people running all this, to run this operation they had to have. I mean, they had to have brakemen, firemen, and engineers, and track people to keep moving that track over, and drill and blast people to run the drills. So it was really labor intense. Samuel Newhouse was born in New York, October 18, 1853, to European Jewish immigrant parents. He was one of 9 children. He worked his way out west and found his fortune mining in Colorado and then in Utah. Samuel Newhouse will be the first to build skyscrapers in Utah. It will be the Boston and the Newhouse buildings. It will be 11 stories, so I guess that was pretty high for the first ones. And in 1905 to 1915, he will build the Newhouse Hotel, and that was on 4th South in Maine. Here's some postcards of that Newhouse Hotel. Now, here's a map of the area of Carr Fork, and you see where the Boston Consolidated was up there in the top of Carr Fork Canyon, and then how the canyon split off, and the other part went up to Copperfield and Upper Bingham. So the Boston Consolidated was high up on top of the mountain above Highland Boy, the Highland Boy mine. And you can see the shops and the boarding houses they had up here. They even had a clubhouse up here. Here's some pictures of that area where the Boston Consolidated was. Look at this picture running down to the shop area. You can see the railroad there on the side. Note it has 3 rails, and that's because they ran both narrow gauge and standard gauge trains on that way. Then here's a panoramic view and 5 separate photos, and they are put together. And to the left, you can see the workings of the Boston Consolidated high on the mountain. Now, if you work your way back to the right, you can see the houses, the boarding houses for the employees. This will grow over time as the operation expanded. So we have quite a few pictures of these boarding houses up on the mountainside. Like I said, this was high above Highland Boy. In this picture, you see how high it is above this area. And then as the mine expanded, as their digging started coming this way, they eliminated this housing. I guess the people just moved down to Highland Boy. Now, to get to the open cut mining and to the train shops and all the housing, they used the Copper Belt Railroad. Now, to get up there, they had to use these steep switchbacks, went up the side of this mountain, winding back and forth. Now, to get the ore out of the workings, they had to come down this way too. And so to eliminate that, they built this vertical tram with this large ore bin at the bottom. And it was cable-driven ore cars come down this mountainside, almost vertical, and then they dump in this large ore bin. And then from here, then the Copper Belt Railroad would take it down the canyon further. So that's the Boston Consolidated Copper and Gold Mining Company, the story of them.